Life-changing assignment, Part 1. It was very lonely in my room, but it had been lonely in all of the rooms I had lived in. My mother and father had been killed in a car or bus accident during my first semester at college. Since had no other relatives and no money of my own, I sold their house, and with the life insurance money and the settlement from the bus company, I was relatively well off. I decided to continue at college and was able to live well and pay all of my tuition. But now, having graduated with a major in photographic journalism and minors in business and computer science, I had barely over $250,000 left. I know that seems like a lot of money, but at the present low interest rates it only provides $17,000 annual income. I had sworn to myself not to spend any more of the principal, so I needed some work real soon. I was determined to make it as a photojournalist, but the sofa had not been able to land a position in that field. I guess I will take a look through the trade papers again, maybe something quick will show up. Hey, here is one, I exclaimed. Leading Professional Beauty magazine desires a complete set of photos, start to finish, of a patron receiving a machine permanent wave. Photos are needed to illustrate articles on the history of permanent waves. The fee of $2,000 will advance half on receipt of the signed contract. Contact Ms. Sybil Smythe, Chicago. Wow, a little panic always livens things up. I have already spent most of the advance, and after phoning 34 beauty shops I haven't found any that still use machines to give permanent waves. The last shop I called gave me the name of one that might still use this method, and it is only a couple of blocks from here. I guess I will go get some lunch and then walk on over there and inquire. The sandwich wasn't too bad, but the crowd of middle-aged businessmen sure gave me a fit about my shoulder-length blonde hair. Some people really get uptight about anyone that looks different from them. I don't suppose you could blame them though. I am not very tall and do have a slender build. In fact, I am actually about the size, or a little smaller than most of the women I know. Not that I know very many, but I have always been very shy, and have never even had a real date. Somehow I have never had the courage to approach a girl for a date. Of course, I have been out to the clubs, but only in a group. I love to dance, and usually the girls ask me to dance because of my ability. The truth is I am still a virgin at 21. I really like women, but maybe it is because I have always felt I wasn't man enough for them. That has kept me from having a close relationship. The Sisters is really quite impressive. A large colonial-style brick building with its own parking lot. It certainly looks prosperous. Well, here goes. I have never been in a real beauty salon before. I always have my hair shaped and trimmed in one of those unisex places in the mall. Well, I don't guess they will bite. May I help you? Said the very tall, very blonde receptionist as she looked down at me. I couldn't help staring as I stuttered and stammered, trying to explain why I was there. I am sure we cannot be of any assistance to you. We do still use machines, but only for a few special customers, and we don't have appointments for that service coming up. Oh, here is one of the owners. She may know of something. Hi, I am Margaret Merrill. I'm sorry, but at this time I'm afraid you are out of luck. Boy, this place is full of tall, beautiful women. Ms. Merrill was also tall and a very striking brunette. But Ms. Merrill, I tried to explain, I must get a set of photos of someone. I have already spent my advance and must mail the photos by the day after tomorrow. Maybe if I would pay for the service one of your employees would agree to be the subject. Ms. Merrill replied, I do sympathize with you, young man, but all of my operators wear their hair in certain styles to promote current trends in hair fashion. None of them are in need of a permanent wave at this time. But wait, if you are really as desperate as you say, why not let us give you the permanent? Me, I gulped, but I'm sure they want it to be a woman. Young man, with the proper clothes and a little makeup, no one would know the difference. Besides, that is the only solution for your problem that I can offer. But who would take the pictures? I offered weakly. I am sure you could show us how to operate your camera, it doesn't look too complicated. But make up your mind, we will have to start soon as it will take several hours to complete this little project. And it is almost 2 o'clock now. Ms. Merrill replied. Do you really think it would work? What can I do with my hair after you finish? I mean, can you put me back like I am? I nervously stammered. Yes, she laughed, it will work, and if you don't like the way you look, when we finish we can always straighten your hair. Now if you will just go with Janice, she will help you change clothes and appearance so we can get started on our little project. Janice, the operator who had just walked up, conferred a few moments with Ms. Merrill, then took me by the hand and led me toward the rear of the establishment. Janice opened the door to what appeared to be a dressing and bathroom area. Take off all of your clothes and I will obtain an outfit for you, she instructed. All of them? Yes, all of them. You must wear the proper foundation garments if you are to present a realistic appearance. When I had finished stripping, Janice measured my chest, waist, and hips and asked what size shoes I wore. She then entered a large walk-in closet and returned with several items. As she instructed, I managed to struggle into a cleverly padded all-in-one garment. For some reason, as I was getting into this garment, I was beginning to feel a strange exhilaration and I had to place my erected member in an upright position. Janice told me to suck in my stomach as she pulled the back zipper up. This garment was padded in the hip, buttock, and breast areas so that now appeared to have a very feminine shape. Because of the powerful restricting qualities of the garment, I was required to stand in a very erect manner. Of course, this caused the padded breasts and buttocks to be emphasized even more. Janice then assisted me in donning a pair of stockings and showed me how to attach them to the special tabs provided on the foundation garment. I could not help blushing, as I was sure Janice was aware of the strangely exciting effects the stockings were adding to my already exhilarated state. Next was a beautiful beige blouse of some soft and silky material that was decorated at the cuffs and neck, with delicate ruffles of lace. To this, she added a pair of brown pleated pants with a back zipper. On my feet, she placed a pair of brown shoes similar to penny loafers, only with a higher heel and more delicately styled. Come sit at the vanity so I can apply a little makeup, instructed Janice. Just lipstick should do for now, we will do a complete makeover later in the process. Now, if that is where you would like to start your photo series, we can return to the reception area. The shoes Janice had provided were quite comfortable, but the foundation garment was so restrictive I had to sway my hips a feminine way to walk. Ms. Merrill was waiting at the reception desk when we returned. She greeted me in a manner that seemed to increase my excitement even more. My, you look like a perfect young lady, and we haven't even begun to change you. Ms. Merrill said. Change me? Was there some hidden meaning in her statement? But before I could question her or even think about it very much, Merrill had snapped several shots of me entering the door, and Janice was leading me to the working area of the salon. At this time I cannot even remember agreeing to let them give me the machine permanently, but it seemed the resistance I had initially felt to this idea was rapidly vanishing. Although I had not seen myself in a mirror yet, the clothing I was wearing was having a definite effect on me. I seemed to feel very passive and was actually filled with anticipation for what was to come. Janice led me into a room set off from the main salon. It contained a mirrored wall with low cabinets in front of it, and a shampoo bowl and chair, a styling chair facing the mirrors, and a hairdryer attached to a chair. In one corner was a large machine on a stand that I assumed must be the permanent wave machine. I had a large number of insulated wires, with clamps on the end of each, dangling from what I thought must be a control head since there were several dials, lights, and switches on the front of the large round top. I had no idea at this time what part the machine was to play in the waving process, but it was most imposing, maybe even frightening. Please remove your blouse, we don't want to spill anything on it. Janice's words startled me back to attention. I must have been staring at this machine longer than I realized. Put on this smock and lean back at the shampoo bowl, Janice instructed. Janice was very thorough and I really enjoyed the way she shampooed my hair. Wrapping a towel around my hair like a turban, she told me to be seated in the styling chair. She removed the towel and used it to dry my hair and then used a blow dryer and brush until it was barely damp. While she was drying my hair, I was staring at myself in the mirrors, and as she fluffed my hair out, the excitement I had been feeling seemed to grow even more. Perhaps because of the excitement, or maybe fear, I had begun to tremble and now was actually shaking. She began removing trays of different items from the cabinets and placed them along the top in convenient reach. We were now joined by Ms. Merrill, who was carrying my camera, and another beautician whom she introduced as Tara. "Oh my, you are shaking like a leaf," said Ms. Merrill. "Tara, please bring some wine to help soothe her jitters." As soon as I had drunk the wine, a warm glow seemed to fill me, and soon my shaking stopped. I did not drink normally, but if wine makes you feel this good, I will certainly try it again. Ms. Merrill noted that I had calmed down and told Janice to proceed. Ms. Merrill began taking photos as Janice and Tara, one on each side, started working on me. Beginning with the center part, each operator would section off a small amount of hair and pull it through a slit in a rectangle of some sort of felt-like material. This piece was placed next to my scalp with the section of hair extending through the center. They would then place a clamp-like device over the felt pad and secure it around the chair. Next, they applied a creamy-looking lotion from a squeeze bottle and combed it through the section of hair. After the lotion had been applied, they would place a metal roller at the end of the hair section and roll it toward the scalp, securing the roller to the clamp. Janice and Tara continued with this procedure rapidly and soon had most of my head covered with these roller devices. While Ms. Merrill took another photo of this stage of the process, she inquired, "How do you like your conversion so far?" I was at a loss as to what reply I could give. I seemed to be in a trance, and all I could do was sit passively and watch the amazing change in my appearance that was occurring. With the rollers all over my head, I looked just like a woman. Whether this strange sense of passiveness was due to the fumes from the lotion, which smelled very strongly of ammonia, or to the waves of excitement that were coursing through me. I seemed to sense some sort of ominous overtones in Ms. Merrill's question. What could she mean by conversion? Although I could not remember actually agreeing to have the permanent wave put in my hair, things had happened so fast and progressed so far that I was afraid to back out now. I certainly could not just walk out in this condition. I must admit that I was enjoying the great feeling of excitement and anticipation that had come over me. Even though I was beginning to suspect that Ms. Merrill had more in store for me than just a permanent wave, I seemed powerless to resist. The restriction of the foundation garment constantly reminded me of the huge erection I had, and it seemed to be growing by the minute. The two operators had finished securing the last roller, and all of my hair was now completely fastened up in these curling devices. Such strangely exciting feelings coursed through me as I stared at my reflection in this condition. Janice re-wet all of my hair on the rollers with the same lotion and asked me to please be seated in the chair, under the permanent waving machine. As I arose from the styling chair, I realized just how heavy and uncomfortable these rollers were. Ms. Merrill had taken photos of the completed rolling, and now that I was seated in the chair was taking more as Tara commenced placing a clamp over each roller. These clamps were attached to insulated wires that hung from the head of the machine. The clamps were cylindrical and completely covered the hair wound on the roller. I watched my reflection in the mirrored wall with fascination. Each time Tara attached another clamp, my excitement and euphoric feeling seemed to mount to a higher level. It was obvious to me now that any idea I might have had about backing out was impossible. I was securely fastened to the machine with so many wires and clamps that only one of the operators could free me. I sensed that Ms. Merrill had no intention of allowing that to happen. My hair was going to be permanently waved by these women, and there was nothing I could do now to stop it. Tara had now completed placing all of the clamps and was adjusting dials and switches on the control panel of the machine above my head. "Well, since we have you safely secured, I shall take some photos now, and then I must attend to certain other details of your conversion. Tara has set the controls to the proper temperature and timing to give you a firm and long-lasting curl. You will be connected to the machine for about an hour, So Janice will be able to do something about improving your hands while you are processing. If your head becomes too hot, or you think one of the clamps is burning your scalp, let Janice know immediately. With that informative but chilling statement, Ms. Merrill left Janice to attend to me while I sat bound to this machine. How did I get myself into this predicament? It is almost as if these women were just waiting for me so they could do this. It certainly appears that they are enjoying themselves. What can I possibly do when this ordeal is over? Obviously, my hair is to be firmly and permanently curled by this machine. Even though I don't have any relatives or close friends, my landlady, the women at the grocery store, and the restaurant are bound to know my hair has been curled. How can I face them? What if somebody recognizes me from the pictures, and conversion, what does Merrill mean by that? Is that just a figure of speech? Your other hand, Janice said, shocking me back from my worries. She had set up a manicure table, attached some false nails to my left hand, and now was proceeding to do the same to my right hand. Why are you doing that to my hands? I just wanted pictures of a hairdo, I asked. Ms. Merrill gave instructions that we are to make you appear completely feminine and as beautiful as possible. She wants the pictures to be as realistic as possible. Janice replied. Oh my, how will I ever get this all undone? As I worried about what was happening to me, Janice shaved both of my hands and forearms with an electric razor. She filed the false fingernails into long slender ovals and then applied a clear polish to each nail. I will only apply the base coat now since I won't know what color to use until your makeup is done, Janice told me. While Janice was placing the manicure table by the hairdryer, I became aware of how uncomfortable I was. The weight of all the steel rollers and clamps was making my neck tired, especially since could hardly turn my head because of all the wires connecting me to the machine. At least the smell from the lotion wasn't as strong as it had been, but the heat from the machine clamps was really uncomfortable. I called to Janice telling her how hot my head was becoming. That is to be expected, she replied. This process operates on the principle of increasing heat. The lotion we applied softens the hair so it will assume the shape of the curlers. The machine generates heat through the clamps fastened over the curlers. The increasing heat causes the lotion to steam out of the hair and hardens the hair into the new shape on the curler. The machine will cut off in 5 more minutes, so just be patient. Janice rolled a cart in front of me that contained a TV monitor and VCR. She started a tape and then brought a miniature set of headphones and placed them in my ears. Janice left the room as the tape began to play scenes of beautiful landscapes, seashores, and mountains. The sound of this tape was of some strange New Age music that repeated itself periodically. As I watched and listened, a soothing, peaceful, and happy feeling came over me. I did not seem to be any less excited, only less anxious and fearful. Ms. Merrill returned to the room with Tara just as the machine clicked off. Janice donned a pair of gloves and removed the hot clamps from my head. Ms. Merrill snapped several photos of this being done and said, "Now that your hair has been curled, we must cool it before removing the curlers. If you go back to the styling chair, Janice and Tara will start the cooling." As I rose from the chair under the machine, I almost fell. It must have been the continuous excitement, the smell of the waving lotion, and the heat from the permanent wave machine that had made me feel so weak. Ms. Merrill assisted me to the styling chair and said, "I'm sure you will find the rest of your conversion will not be so uncomfortable." Janice and Tara each used a small blower to cool my hair, and it certainly was a relief. They soon shut off the blowers and started removing the rollers, clamps, and pads. As they removed each one, a long golden ringlet would fall until soon my head was a mass of golden curls. When the last roller had been removed, Janice led me to the shampoo bowl and rinsed my hair. Ms. Merrill snapped several more photos of these proceedings. After the rinse, I was returned to the styling chair, and with a towel around my hair I placed a new roll of film in my camera. Janice combed some liquid through my hair and started setting it on plastic rollers, using clips to hold each roller in place. As Ms. Merrill took more pictures, she said. She is setting your hair in a certain pattern so that we will be able to arrange it in a suitable style. As soon as this was completed, another beautician, who apparently was the makeup artist, looked my face over carefully and after comparing some color samples with my face told Janice what color nail enamel to use. As she left the room, Janice placed me under the hairdryer and Ms. Merrill took photos of me under the hairdryer. While my hair was drying, Janice applied a soft pink color to my nails and then a coat of clear sealer. As she finished one hand and then the other, I was amazed at how feminine my hands now were. Having finished my nails, Janice repositioned the video cart and started the tape before again leaving the room. As the dryer droned on, my mind began going over everything that had been done to me. Never could I remember having been so excited for such a long period. My testicles were actually beginning to ache. Glancing from my hands to my reflection in the mirror, I wondered why I was enjoying what these women were doing to me. As they increasingly changed my appearance, the strange feelings within me became more overwhelming. I began to look at the tape again since I had enjoyed it so much the first time. Ms. Merrill and Janice returned just as the dryer turned off. Ms. Merrill took several pictures and then said, "We will soon be through and I just know you will be delighted with your new appearance." Janice placed a satin bonnet over my curls and led me to the makeup room. In the center of the alcove devoted to makeup was a large padded bench over which was suspended a large light fixture. Near one end were several machines with various dials and switches that I assumed were for giving facial treatments. Elaine, the makeup artist, told me to lie down on this bench. After arranging a cloth over my clothing, she placed a dark pad over each eye. "It is necessary to shield your eyes from the bright light I will be using. I will be shaping eyebrows, to begin with. You will feel a pricking sensation, but just remain absolutely still until I have finished," Elaine advised. It seemed forever before she removed the pads from my eyes. The pricking sensation she had mentioned felt more like being repeatedly stuck with a needle. She produced a hypodermic syringe and told me she was going to deaden my earlobes so the earrings wouldn't bother me. She said people who had not worn earrings before found them uncomfortable. She injected each ear and then began applying makeup to my face, eyes, and lips. As she attached a gold loop to each ear, I was glad she had deadened them. It felt just like she had punched a hole in my earlobe. Ms. Merrill had been taking photos while Elaine was working on me, and she handed me my camera so I could change the film again. Janice had me remove the smock and replace it with the ruffled blouse I had worn earlier. I was then brought back to the room where the permanent wave had been given and seated in the styling chair. Janice removed the satin bonnet and started taking the rollers out. As she removed the rollers, my hair stayed in the shape I had been set in. Sitting in the chair wearing a feminine smock and with my set hair, I looked just like a woman, and I liked looking like a woman. What was happening to me? My appearance had been so drastically changed already, and I was actually wanting them to hurry so I could see myself when they finished. Janice then began brushing and combing my hair. I could see while she worked that she was arranging my curls in an updo. Ms. Merrill had been taking pictures while Janice worked, and as Janice finished her hairstyle by applying hairspray, Ms. Merrill said, "With your fair skin, I knew it would be easy to complete this first part of your conversion." As I gazed at my reflection, I saw a beautiful young lady. Piles of artfully arranged golden curls, a beautiful face with long dark eyelashes, sweepingly arched eyebrows, seductively pouting pink lips, gold earrings dangling from pierced ears. This was me. I stared at what I had become until the mounting waves of passion completely overcame me as I blissfully fainted. "I believe that you have a new member for our little family, Ms. Merrill. He has fainted from excitement," exclaimed Janice. "Yes, and the stain on the front of his slacks is the proof. It seems our little photographer is to willingly become a slave to his newfound beauty." The proper tranquilizer and that tape with the subliminal messages are quite effective in creating the desire to be a woman. Please revive him at once as I have many more surprises for our new girl-to-be.